Welcome to This Explainer. Let's jump right in because today we're breaking down some absolutely vital, life-saving information about early cancer detection, specifically for Americans over 60. We're going to take a deep dive into the 5 key warning signs your body might be sending you. But listen, the most important thing we're doing today is shifting our mindset completely away from fear and straight into empowerment. Knowledge is literally your best defense, and by the end of this, you're going to have exactly what you need to advocate for your own health.
Okay, let's get real for a second and look at this sobering reality. A staggering 60% of all new cancer diagnoses occur in people over the age of 60. And on top of that, more than 70% of all cancer deaths happen in this exact same age bracket. But, despite these wild numbers, so many older Americans still brush off early warning symptoms as just quote-unquote normal aging, or they put off seeing a doctor because they're scared, or they mistakenly believe nothing can be done. Well, we are going to change that narrative right now.
So, to equip you with the knowledge you actually need, here's our roadmap for today. 1. The early detection advantage. 2. Systemic signs, focusing on weight and fatigue. 3. Localized signs, looking at bowels and lumps. 4. The unexplained pain signal. 5. Essential screenings over 60. And finally, 6. Taking immediate action.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the early detection advantage.
This is, without a doubt, the most crucial takeaway from our entire explainer. A cancer diagnosis is absolutely not an automatic death sentence. When we finally push past that initial fear of finding something wrong, and we catch cancers in their earliest stages, they go from being incredibly dangerous to highly manageable, treatable, and honestly, often completely curable. Thanks to some truly amazing leaps in modern medicine over the last decade, early-stage cancers that used to require these long, grueling treatments can now often be resolved with quick, far less invasive interventions. Your biggest advantage? How early it's detected. Time is totally your greatest ally.
Moving right along to Section 2, systemic signs, specifically weight and fatigue.
It's incredibly easy to write off major, full-body changes in our weight and energy as simply, I'm just getting older. But your body is way smarter than that. Take the rule of 10, for example, which is our first major warning sign. If you've dropped 10 or more pounds over a period of 6 to 12 months, completely out of nowhere, meaning you haven't tweaked your diet or bumped up your gym time, do not just chalk it up to stress or aging. When your body is fighting cancer, those tumor cells actually hijack massive amounts of energy and release chemicals that mess with your metabolism and completely kill your appetite. So this unexplained weight loss, it can actually be an early alarm bell for pancreatic, stomach, esophageal, lung, or colon cancer. Tell your doctor about it immediately. And right alongside weight loss, we really need to bust a massive myth to understand our second warning sign. We have got to contrast ordinary, run-off-the-mill tiredness with cancer-related fatigue. Look, we all get tired, right? A bad night's sleep, new meds, or just a really busy day can completely wipe us out. But cancer-related fatigue is a whole different beast. It's this deep, persistent, progressive exhaustion that absolutely does not get better, even after a solid night's sleep. It might come with weakness or just this gut feeling that something is fundamentally off. Cancers like leukemia, lymphoma, and colon cancer cause this by literally draining your body's energy reserves or triggering a massive inflammatory response. Bottom line, if resting doesn't fix it, get it checked out. Okay, Section 3, localized signs, covering bowels and lumps.
Building on those systemic signs, we need to zoom in on localized issues, specifically the gastrointestinal system, which is our third major warning sign. Now, the absolutely crucial thing to remember here is that changes in your bathroom habits are never just an age-related thing. Colorectal cancer is super common in adults over 60, and it frequently shows up as persistently narrow stools, which can actually indicate a growth partially blocking the colon, or this nagging feeling that you haven't fully emptied your bowels. Plus, any blood in your stool, whether it's bright red or dark and tarry, or blood in your urine, needs immediate attention. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you think it's just hemorrhoids or if you're embarrassed to talk about it. Please, do not let a moment of embarrassment cost you precious time.
We also see localized signs pop up in our tissue and skin. You've got to be super vigilant about any new lumps. For both men and women, breast changes like painless lumps, skin dimpling that kind of looks like an orange peel, or weird redness demand a prompt look. Also, pay close attention to your lymph nodes, those little immune glands. If they stay hard, rubbery, and swollen for over 2 to 4 weeks, that's a big red flag. And skin-wise,
Any new moles or changes to old ones that are larger than 6 millimeters across, asymmetrical, or have multiple colors, those are classic warnings for melanoma. Even something like a sore in your mouth that just stubbornly refuses to heal could point to an oral cancer.
Let's move to section 4, the unexplained pain signal. Sometimes your body bypasses the subtle hints and uses pain as a blaring, urgent alarm bell. This is our fourth key warning sign. And it's so important to grasp because certain conditions are actually known as silent cancers. Ovarian cancer is the classic example here. Its early pain signals like a sudden feeling of pelvic fullness, feeling stuffed after just a few bites of food, or even vague abdominal discomfort are so incredibly easy to dismiss as just minor tummy troubles. But if these pains are totally new for you and they just won't go away, they are absolutely not normal.
Now, cancer pain varies a ton, but the golden word here is persistent. Any new, persistent pain that doesn't have an obvious physical explanation really demands a thorough medical deep dive. For instance, if you have deep, constant back pain that actually gets worse at night and has nothing to do with how you moved or lifted something that day, that could be an early sign of pancreatic, kidney, or spinal cancers. Same goes for new, severe headaches that bring along vision changes or sudden weakness. Don't just mask that with aspirin. You need a doctor to figure out the actual root cause. And while we're on the topic of urgent signals, that brings us to the fifth major warning sign, respiratory and throat red flags. You should be hypervigilant here. A persistent cough lasting more than 3 weeks is a huge one, especially for current or former smokers. Believe it or not, lung cancer kills more Americans than any other cancer, mostly because people just ignore a chronic cough. Also, if you find yourself gradually having difficulty swallowing, or you get a hoarseness in your voice that lasts more than a couple of weeks without any obvious cold or infection, please do not brush it off.
All right, section 5, essential screenings over 60.
So knowing those 5 warning signs is fantastic, but it's really only half the battle. The other half? Proactive screening. We don't just want to react when things go wrong. We want to catch things before symptoms even show up. Here is your essential checklist. Colorectal screenings like colonoscopies or stool DNA tests are highly recommended for all adults through age 75. Then there's a shockingly underutilized test, the low-dose CT scan for lung cancer. If you're between 50 and 80 and have a history of smoking, getting this annual scan can literally save your life. For breast and prostate cancers, recommendations can be a bit more nuanced, so you definitely need to sit down with your doctor and weigh your personal risks. And lastly, if you've spent a lot of time in the sun over the years, you absolutely need an annual full-body skin check from a dermatologist. Go into your next appointment and demand these tests.
And finally, section 6, taking immediate action. We've gone through the signs and the screenings, so now let's focus on taking back your power. The million-dollar question is, when you actually notice something feels off, how do you make sure you don't just brush it aside out of fear, or worse, get dismissed by a super busy doctor who just assumes it's old age?
The answer? You act immediately. First, call and schedule an appointment right away. Do not play the wait-and-see game. Second, when you get to the doctor's office, be ultra-specific. Tell them exactly when the symptoms started, how they've evolved, whether they're constant, and what makes them better or worse. Clear, tracked data leaves zero room for guesswork. And third, you must firmly advocate for yourself. If a doctor dismisses a symptom that genuinely worries you without doing a proper investigation or giving you a solid explanation, politely but firmly insist on a referral to a specialist. Remember, you are the CEO of your own body.
At the end of the day, paying attention to early detection isn't about giving in to paranoia or fear. It's the exact opposite. It's about showing respect for the incredible body that has carried you this far through life. I mean, think about it. Your body has been successfully communicating with you, keeping you going through every up and down for over 6 decades. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Your body is speaking to you right now, but are you finally ready to start listening?